First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I want to say that I had a few ideas for this class, and in planning for the class, I decided that I wanted to talk a little bit about the feelings that many of us are feeling these past few months, and to try and brainstorm some ways to channel these feelings toward a more positive outcome. And as I started to pay attention to many of the things that we have in common now during isolation and social distancing, it made me realize that there are lessons about independence and about freedom that can be learned from this experience. So in preparation for Yom Haasmaut, or in honor of Yom Haasmaut, I thought that a lesson on freedom would be appropriate. My hope is that we could take this lesson and apply it to our lives now during the corona pandemic and beyond. So it's been said, hold on, let me just share my screen because that is where we're going. Hold on. Okay, so it's been said that during this pandemic, we're all in the same boat. Or as advertised in a lot of social platforms, we're all in this together. But the truth is that we are all in the same storm together, but we're not necessarily in the same boat. We all seem to be navigating somewhat in our own way. Some of us are exhausted. We feel as if we're rowing a boat and barely getting anywhere, while others are enjoying some time off and having extra time to relax. Some of us might feel cooped up, either because we live in small quarters, and others have more space to stretch out. Some of us have homes that are full with people, while others are alone. Some of us need to deal with young children who are literally climbing the walls, or at least the furniture, while others wish that they had some young children around to keep them entertained and busy each day. Each one of us has different needs and different resources, and therefore everyone has a different attitude and different coping mechanism. I want to first state that all reactions are valid. Whatever you might be experiencing at this time, it's fair, it's okay, provided that you maintain your own personal health and the general safety of the public. This class is meant for the masses. It might not address the needs of those families that are grieving over the loss of a close relative, and it also may exclude those with psychological issues such as severe anxiety or depression, or those with addictive behaviors. I feel the need to say this because during the pandemic, those situations are even more painful and more unbearable than in normal circumstances. So I'm talking to, quote unquote, the average person. So despite our differences and despite the different boats we might be navigating, what are some of the things that we do have in common? Is there anybody who would like to share, either in the chat or you can unmute yourself, something that we might all have in common? Okay, I'll leave it at that. Oh, we got somebody.
Love.
Okay, love, meaning?
Love for our family and concern for them.
Good. Love for our family and concern for them. Excellent. So I'm actually going to get there soon, but I'm going to take it down a notch to begin with. So here are some of the things that we are sharing right now. We all have some level of loneliness. We miss seeing certain people that are not within our close proximity, or we miss seeing them face to face, even if we're able to use FaceTime or these Zoom type meetings. We miss physical contact with others. We also all have some worries. These are uncertain times. We're worried. There's uncertainty in terms of getting the virus, contracting it, spreading it. We all have worries, some about financial concerns. Some of us are worrying about how's the school year going to end? What's the summer going to look like? What's next fall going to look like? Then there's the aspect of time. Many of us have extra time. I would probably say most of us. I think the only exception that I've been hearing a lot is the rabbis. The rabbis are extremely, extremely busy. And we have a lot of time to do nothing and waste, or time to try something new. Maybe a new hobby, a new project. And this last one I really put up just for a little humor, okay? We're all concerned how we're gonna get that really good toilet paper, okay? So I'm just sharing some things that we all have levels of, some more heightened, some maybe less. And how do we deal with these problems? How do we deal with these feelings? So instead of focusing on what we cannot control, we should focus on what we can control. It seems really, really clear that at this time, it's as if Hashem is begging each and every one of us to connect with him on an individual basis. For example, there's no more minyan, there's no more school, right? So we're all doing our tefillah biyachid. We're doing it individually. Even places like the Kotel, which usually has throngs of people, had a time where there was literally no one there praying. We each have our own space. We go at our own pace. We choose which prayers we're going to say, maybe starting with the obligations and then adding things along the way. And again, being able to do that because we have this extra time if the time allows. So what are some of the benefits that we can experience during this social distancing? Meaning we have this sort of knock on the door from God saying, you know, you have to think of yourself as an individual and I want you to connect with me. And what are some of the benefits that we're seeing? So I'd like to venture out and say that there is definitely less distraction. We don't have all the hustle and bustle of daily life. There's no traffic and noise pollution, much less. We are also experiencing much less social pressures. Even in terms of our appearances, you know, people joke about you have the same 2 pairs of sweatpants or the same 2 t-shirts. Do you even change in the nighttime into night clothing? Maybe you just fix your hair or put on a little makeup because you might be on a Zoom conference or on a FaceTime, or all those jokes about people who are literally in their underwear, not dressed from the bottom down on these types of meetings. But my point in bringing this up is that we really our mind is not busy with all that distraction. And we're not able to spend money the way we usually do. Again, another meme that's been circulating about how, you know, your grocery bill is thousands of dollars and you're not spending on anything else. No Uber, no Uber bills and no theater bills or entertainment or restaurant bills, etc. So what does this enable us to do? It enables us to focus on ourselves and our relationship with Hashem. It also, as was mentioned before, that term love, it also enables us to focus on our closest relatives. And we know that tzedakah begins in the home. And now more than ever, we're able to assist and help those that are closest to us. There's a pasuk, it's really half a pasuk that I'm quoting in Yeshaya Perek Nunchet. It says, which literally can mean from your own flesh, you should not turn away. But this is a call to tzedakah from the people that are your basar, people that are your relatives and your kin, you should not turn away from. Given all this, the lack of distraction, the focus on ourself and Hashem and those closest to us, what are we really able to do with our time? What do we have more free time, more freedom, and more opportunity to do on a daily basis? So one thing that I already put up over here is prayer, okay? As I said before, many of us are adding some daily prayers or finding some time, extra time to say Tehillim, adding to whatever prayer we had on a regular basis. Some other things you might be busying yourself with. You might find time to do exercise, and I think there are mixed feelings about being in an exercise environment or in a gym versus doing it in the privacy of your home. Some people love it and some people don't. There's time for some self-care, which can include exercise. It can include some sleep. It might include a new craft or hobby, learning a new instrument, cooking. We also have time for family. And again, our closest family, whoever's under the same roof as us right now, those are people that we're seeing on a regular basis. I'm hoping, I put up a picture of, like the Waltons-like picture, that I'm hoping everyone is taking advantage and at least having one meal a day all together, which many people are not able to do when we have our regular schedules. And then there's the opportunity for love, donating love and doing chesed. Although we can't do chesed in its usual format, maybe we don't participate in big fundraisers or in big events like Chinese auctions, but we're forced to think in a more creative manner. What can I do to connect to others? And not only the people in our home, but others that are outside of our home as well. It forces us to think in a more creative manner. To do this successfully, you might have to think long and hard about what that other individual would really like and would really appreciate. What would be most meaningful to them? Would they want me to cook something for them or send them some groceries? Do they just want another FaceTime call or another text or maybe a gift? Okay, what would make them happy? So these are all examples of things that you may or may not be doing. I'm assuming many people are experiencing all of these things. But there's one thing that we as a community are definitely all experiencing more, and I think today is a testament to that, and that is learning, and specifically learning Torah. Rabbis and teachers more than ever have full schedules. There are requests on a daily basis of people who want to fill some of their extra time with learning, or want to find a way to fit their regular schedule in now that we don't have regular schedules. And learning, especially learning Torah, is quite fulfilling. Just look at all the class offerings that were offered today. And it really, really is a beautiful thing. Now, for those of you who are thinking, okay, she gave a lot of nice ideas, but I'm not really taking so much advantage of this time, and maybe I don't feel like I even have free time. And for those of you who have very young children at home, I guess we can exclude you a little bit from this conversation because you definitely have a lot on your hands, or anyone else that you may have to take care of that needs your attention, round the clock. So there's one thing that really, really is a challenge to all of us, even with the suggestion of nice things that we may be doing with our time. And that is motivation. How do I motivate myself? I sort of understand that this is a time that I could take advantage of. I sort of understand that maybe there's an opportunity for me to do now things that I wouldn't normally be able to do, but I'm not necessarily pulling myself out of bed every day to do it. I'm not necessarily finding the platform that works for me. I'm not self-motivated. Now, recognizing the things that you could do and desire to do is really the first step. That's really the first step. Is there anything that I really would love to do that I could, that now would be a good opportunity to do? The second step then is finding the time for it and trying to figure out if I'm not, and I wouldn't even say the time, but finding the platform for it. And if I'm not finding that, then why not? So I just want to give you a few examples. For example, students in school, why do they pray on a daily basis? They start praying on a daily basis because they're forced to. They're in a school environment. They have a set time for tefillah. The teacher is taking attendance. There is some sort of peer pressure, and might not be coming from the peers their age, right? But there is some sort of outside pressure that's forcing them to fulfill that. Even something like exercise. Some people are motivated to go to exercise classes because they get to see their friends. And some people are motivated to exercise on a higher level because they're standing next to somebody who is doing it with a little bit more force than you yourself would do when you're at home. Some people are learning Torah, again, I'm not talking now during virus, but on other times, because again, they're going to a place where they see their friends. They're going to a place that they feel a part of a group. And again, we have that a little bit with the Zoom platform, but definitely not on the same level. Volunteering as well. Sometimes you volunteer really because of the social setting. So if you're one of those people that really needs a fun and lively social environment to motivate you to do some of the things that we mentioned, then this could definitely be a more challenging time for you. And you have to try to remind yourself or ask yourself, how can I continue to succeed? How can I continue to be motivated? How can I continue to be proud of the things that I do and reach great heights, even if I don't have that social encouragement? I'll just give you a quick example. For me, it's for a very long time, it's been a challenge getting up early in the morning. I didn't start in my teenage years. I didn't have a problem then. I think it started when I had children and I guess psychologically felt that I was sleep deprived. And now I don't have young children in the house. And especially now, it's difficult to get up in the morning. What am I getting up for? How many things do I have to accomplish during the day? And I personally am ultra thankful that I have my teaching job at Mag and David, and I'm assigned a 10 o'clock class 5 days a week. So for 5 days a week, I have that social environment that helps me get up. So on Shabbat and Sundays, I'm encouraging myself and making sure that I find a way to motivate myself and to not just get up on time, but get up and leave myself time to shower, groom myself, enough time for tefillah, some time to eat a little breakfast before the things that I have to start my day. So I think all of you should think about, on a personal level, what are the things that you do happily and what are the things that are a little bit more of a struggle? And are those things really necessary in your life? And if the answer is yes, try and find ways to self-motivate. So to tie this lesson all together, I want to read a Mishnah from Pirkei Avot. It comes from the 6th chapter in Pirkei Avot, Mishnah Bet, and it will help teach us a little bit about self-motivation and a little bit more about independence and freedom. I'm going to read through it. I know some of you might not know Hebrew that well. We're going to break it down into smaller pieces, but my apologies, I did not put an English translation on. So just wait as we break it up for the English translation. Amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, B'chol yom vayom, בת קול יוצאת מהר חורב ומכרזת ואומרת, אוי להם לבריות מעלבונה של תורה, שכל מי שאינו עוסק בתורה נקרא נזוף, שנאמר, נזם זהב באף חזיר, אישה יפה ושרת טעם, ואומר, והלוחות מעשה אלוהים המה, והמכתב מכתב אלוהים הוא חרוט על הלוחות. אל תקרא חרוט, אלא חירות, שאין לך בן חורין, אלא מי שעוסק בתלמוד תורה. וכל מי שעוסק בתלמוד תורה, הזה מתעלה, שנאמר, וממתנה נחליאל, ומנחליאל במות. So let's break this down into smaller pieces. The Mishnah begins by saying that every day, a voice comes out from Har Chorev, and here the term used for Har Sinai is Har Chorev. Chorev means desolate. It's not the positive term generally used for Har Sinai. Why are we using this negative term? because because the voice is saying, oh no, it's terrible. There is an embarrassment to the Torah if people are not involving themselves in Torah, or really it's an embarrassment to the people that they are not involving themselves in the study of Torah. How is this an embarrassment? Anybody who doesn't involve himself in Torah is called nazuf, which literally means excommunicated. It's as if he is distancing, choosing purposely to distance himself from Hashem, and he's wandering with no clear direction and no guide. The Mishnah then brings a pasuk from Mishlei, that it says in Mishlei, Nezem Zahav Ba'af Chazir. I couldn't find a picture with a gold nose ring, so I just found another ring in the Chazir. But you'll notice that the nose ring does not make the Chazir any more appealing or any more beautiful. And the pasuk also mentions the beauty of a woman might not be noticed if she lacks intellectual capacity or acts without proper manners. So, no matter how much you try to adorn something that's not so beautiful, it's not going to look so beautiful. The Mishnah goes on and says that the luchot are actually the work of God. We know that the first luchot were engraved and carved out by Hashem himself. And there are many descriptions of the miracles of the luchot. They could be read by both sides and things like that. And the handwriting was the handwriting of God. And when the Mishnah uses the word charut to describe the engraving. Now, the letters of the word charut are the same letters of the word cherut, which is freedom. So our rabbis tell us that this word, the word on that the tablets are not just charut, engraved in God's handwriting, but the tablets are what actually give us our freedom. And from this we learn שאין לך בני חורין, אלא מי שעוסק בתלמוד Torah. That a person is not truly a free person unless he involves himself with learning Torah. Why? Because the Torah contains the ultimate truth. It contains the divine law. As they say, the truth shall set you free. When we think of the Jewish people in the land of Egypt, we think of them as slaves to Paro. And we might think that they left Mitzrayim, they left from being slaves to Paro in order to receive the Torah at Har Sinai. So they went from being slaves to Paro to being slaves of God. And sometimes people might mistakenly think of the Torah as restrictive. It does seem restrictive. There are do's and there are don'ts, mitzvot aseh and mitzvot lo ta'aseh. And there are actually many more don'ts. So in reality, but in reality, keeping these commandments is what sets us free. And the question I'm going to try and answer now is how? How does keeping the Torah set us free? So I want to start by saying that anybody who's going to follow the Torah must first have some fundamental beliefs. He must believe that Hashem is in control of the world. He must believe first that Hashem is the creator. He created the world, and that he rules over the world. He must believe that Hashem is involved in what goes on in the world. This knowledge is what sets us free. Knowing that Hashem is the one who's holding our hands every day. This enforces our commitment to Hashem and reassures us of his commitment to us. It reminds us that he will never abandon us. So freedom is not just about freedom to do whatever you want. We all know that if a society has no rules, has no laws, the result is chaos. And you personally, in such a society, would actually be in danger because someone can come to you any minute, point a gun to your head, and shoot you. That's not true freedom. That type of chaos leaves us vulnerable and unprotected. Once we accept the need for a structure and a set of rules, that's when we can begin to experience freedom. And once we accept the Torah and Hashem as our master, that's when we are truly free. And that's what I believe this Mishnah, the words in this Mishnah, En lecha b'nei chorin, ela mi she'osek b'talmud Torah, really means. We are placing our trust in Hashem, and we are reassured about different uncertainties, especially during the corona pandemic. We know that we will get through this, and our hope is that this will lead us to living a better life. The Mishnah ends with these words. It tells us that we know you're free because it says in Bamidbar, it talks about, it actually is brought up after Miriam dies. It's written right after the Shir for the Be'er, the song of the well. And it's a song of thanksgiving. And at the end, it talks about the travels of Bnei Yisrael. It says they traveled from Matana to Nachliel and from Nachliel to Bamot. So our rabbis explained to us that Matana is a reference to Har Sinai, where we started in this Mishnah, Chorev. It's a reference to Har Sinai, where we received the gift of the Torah. And by receiving the gift of the Torah, that's what enabled us nachala, an inheritance, and ultimately bamot. Bamot means to rise to great heights. So we received the Torah, moved on to our inheritance, and were put up on a pedestal, right? As Am Yisrael, we reach great heights when we keep the Torah. But I would like to give a little bit different interpretation of Matana, Nachliel, and Nachliel Bamot. I don't think it's only referring to the gift of the Torah. I believe it's reminding us also to acknowledge that everything that we have in life is a gift from Hashem. And there are many people who have survived this virus, who unfortunately, or maybe we can look at it as fortunately, now recognize that literally every single breath that we take is from Hashem. If we remember this, that's when we will inherit. That's when we will be able to rise to greater heights. We will not be so afraid. We will not be so pressured by the physical and alluring parts of life. We will be better able to focus on the spiritual and the most essential parts of life, the things that we're forced to focus on now. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we will all navigate this storm in our own way, and every one of us will come out better and stronger because of it.